morning, Perry High School. Welcome to the second edition of Pirate Nation News. We are your hosts, Kendra and Kyle. 10 years ago this weekend, our nation was faced with the devastation of two terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers. This disaster killed an estimated 2,752 innocent people. Most of us students don't remember this day, but we've all heard the story from our parents and teachers. We would like to begin our broadcast today by taking a look on this historic tragedy.
Tomorrow all the things were gone. I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife.
What I remember about 9/11 was I was only in first grade, so I just remember being in Mrs. Skatowski's class, and Miss Nensvicky came in, and she told Mrs. Skatowski to turn on the TV, and she did, and she just started crying, and then we all got sent home.
And I'm proud to be an American.
Well, at the time, I was in preschool, so I didn't really know what was going on. But now looking back at it now, it's a sad moment of what happened.
I remember my teacher turning on the TV, and a lot of kids got pulled out of school, but it didn't seem like a big deal then. But now that I'm older, I realize it was a big deal.
I love this land. God bless the USA.
As it slammed into the
I guess my 9/11 story is really personal because I wasn't really sure how my daughter and my son-in-law were reacting that day. I know my daughter had meetings at the World Trade Center quite frequently, even though her office was across the street and down a couple blocks on Wall Street. She's an attorney and represented people at the World Trade Center. When I first heard that the incident occurred, I, of course, was frightened, and I turned on the TV here at the high school just like everyone else did, and I was watching what was happening. And her and her husband got on the train to go into the city to work, and when she was coming out of the subway, the second plane had hit by that point, and she was being showered with debris. So frightened, she ran into her office, and her office was on, I think it was the 11th floor, 100 Wall Street was the address of her office building. And by that time, I'm still anxiously awaiting here and trying to get a phone call through to her. She ends up calling me and telling me that she's okay, but she just explained everything that I explained to you, what had just happened. And we were talking briefly, and she screamed because right outside the window in her office, she was able to see the first tower fall. Finally, a little while later, she called me back, and she said that they were evacuating to a lower floor because the police and fire department had ordered this evacuation, and they were hosing down her building. So I didn't know if that meant her building was on fire or what. She said that they were told to put something wet over their heads, evacuate down as far as they could. And I said, well, why don't you leave the building? And she said, because the smoke's too intense. Well, when I did hear from her again, she had told me that she was on a barge-like boat in New York Harbor. I said, well, how'd you get there? And she said the Marines had commandeered all the boats in the harbor area, and all of the taxi cabs and buses that they could. And she was literally physically picked up and flung over the shoulder of one of the Marines and taken down to the boat.
Those are some pretty powerful images and stories. Even though most of us students aren't old enough to recall how life was different prior to 9/11, it's important for us to pay tribute to all those who died on that tragic day. It was definitely a defining moment in history that changed the way we go about our daily lives.
So, what did you do this summer? TV Pro wants to show the world how you summer vacation. If you make a school-appropriate video showing how you spent your summer vacation, we just might pick it as the video of the month. Kyle created a sample video for you to enjoy. Let's take a look at what he did this summer.
Dropping.
Wow, that was pretty sweet. That place looks really fun. Kyle was learning freestyle skiing aerial awareness at Camp Woodworth this summer. Awesome stuff, Kyle. If you have a summer video you would like to share, come to TV Pro and see Mosk.
Before we go to Mitchell for an update on our fall sports team, please tune in to this commercial break.
This is what your Nook will look like. It's going to come in a neoprene case, and they're all coded so I know what books are on them, because there'll be different books loaded on each. Be able to check out a Nook for a week at a time, and you will be charged a late fee if it's later than a week, and you do get charged over the weekend, so it's important to bring them back on time. If you're not finished, you can then check it out again. In order to check out a Nook, you have to have a form filled out that you can find online, or you can find it here in the library. Right now we're planning to roll these out on the 12th or 13th.